Well, this was definitely not how I intended on starting this video, but what was supposed to be a tour of my new rig, which I will be renovating and we'll talk more about that later, has now turned into a rescue mission for a 12,000-pound dually that is now stuck on the side of a rural road. Because this lovely 12,000-pound, 7.3-liter Power Stroke dually Ford ambulance just broke down on our first trip about 35 miles from home. I just a few moments ago had a service engine soon light come on as I was getting off of the highway. There was no safe place for me to actually pull over, but as I started to accelerate to get off of the highway, I lost all power. So I found a lovely little green patch on the side of the road that I'm now pulled over on to try to figure all of this out on, because it's looking like I'm gonna need to tow all the way home. Now, this definitely was not how I wanted to start the intro to this new rig. I'm a little bit bummed for sure. I was hoping that it was gonna get us to our destination safely, but also grateful that it didn't wait to have this issue happen until we were way back in the forest, because if you've ever tried to get help way back in the forest without service, you would know how hard that is. But all that aside, it is already noon, and so I'm gonna start calling around shops to see if I can get a transport company to help me bring this rig, Tara, and I back into town before we run out of food and water, which we don't have much of because this was supposed to be literally like an hour-long trip.
Hello.
Hello. Would you be able to look up the Park County, Bailey, Colorado non-emergency number? I don't have enough service to find it. My internet is just spinning. I only have one bar. Wouldn't be a first trip without a breakdown, right?
Yeah.
When service engine soon light comes on, it means you shut that vehicle off as absolutely quick as humanly possible. It's safe.
Yeah. Tara and I might need a deep breath trip in the Subaru this week.
I just sent you, I'm texting you their address so you can click on it for maps.
Thank you.
I am.
Oy, oy, oy.
Oy, oy, oy. No kidding, kiddo. Not a great start to your Saturday.
Not a great start to my work weekend. I was supposed to be filming. I came out here literally not even to go have fun. That's why I don't have Starlink or food or water. I came out just to record a tour in the trees.
Shit.
This was the closest place for me to go. Hello?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, I'm calling because I am just outside of Bailey, right off of a paved road on the shoulder, and I am unfortunately broken down, and I just wanted to see what your capacity for a tow back into Broomfield by Denver would be. That's good. Okay, well, in that case, good luck with your engine, and I appreciate the recommendation. I'll go ahead and give them a call next.
Yep, you have a great day.
Okay, you as well. Thank you.
You're welcome, bye. Okay. It is something I could probably, how far back on 68 are you?
I can see Bailey and the highway buzzing by. I'm maybe a half mile off the highway.
Okay, that's not bad, then you're off the worst part of it.
Yeah. Amazing. And one more question, not to complicate it. I was out here trying to go camping with my dog. I do have my dog with me. Is she able to ride back down with us?
She has to ride in your vehicle. She can't ride in the tow truck.
Okay, got it.
Is that going to be okay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any other options, unfortunately. I'm assuming I'll have to ride in the tow truck, though, with you, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
The tow trucks are small, and we just
Yeah.
can't have the liability of something happening.
All good. Well, this might be one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever done, but I guess while we wait for the tow truck, I can actually give you guys the tour that I was planning on, just not quite in the way or under the circumstances I was hoping to. Welcome to our new rig, or what will one day be our full-time rig. It is a 2000 E450. I'm on just enough of a busy road to where this is going to be inconvenient. It's a 2000 E450 7.3-liter diesel converted retired ambulance. As you can see, the back does not look very ambulance-like right now, and that's because its previous owner did a very basic conversion with very minimal power, no water, no battery storage. Now, I've built out all 3 rigs that I've had in the past. I guess if this is your first video, that would be crazy. This is my 4th rig for context. And I do plan on renovating the entire thing as well, similar to how I've done my past rigs. So I will be putting power, I will be putting water, there's gonna be a full kitchen, not just an empty sink basin without a faucet. There's gonna be a bed in the back, a garage, all of these wonderful things once we get a tow and we get this engine issue fixed. But for now, I figured I would just show you around the empty-ish tour that I can right now with some basic plans for what I think I might do in the near future. So I'm just gonna set you guys right there so you can see how large this space is. It is 14 feet wide of like living space. So from the back of these front seats to the back doors, 7.5 feet wide and about 6.5 feet tall. I am 5'6" for reference. There's already some insulation in the ceiling and in the floor, both of which I will be beefing up more in the future. Coming from the back, and it really is coming from the back because this thing is so massive, we're gonna end up here in the cockpit. So we have 2 front seats, obviously, Tara's towel, a little steering wheel cover that it came with, very basic. Up here, we have our lovely ambulance electrical, which if you've ever looked into ambulance conversions, this is normally the bane of folks' existence, but I'm actually pretty pleased with how neat and tidy and simple it is. This big white box right here is actually a box that faces outside, and I'm thinking this is gonna be like my battery and storage and systems compartment. We'll see, of course. I brought my Bluetti, thankfully, to keep my phone charged and my electronics. We have a full-size spare, and this box was actually already removed, which is where a lot of people end up putting a shower, which is giving me some ideas. Over here at the entry, we have this large step up, which is gonna be great for housing Tara's water bowl, this nice little shelf, Tara, of course, who's making herself right at home, and some honestly pretty nice quality cabinetry. This is really, really sturdy because they obviously screwed up into and out to the sides of the ambulance. This has a very strong frame, but the problem with all of this in here, you're probably wondering why I don't just keep it. First is because of the layout. I think I can definitely optimize this space for what we need and want to have in our living space, as well as the fact that they used 3/4 inch pine tongue and groove, which is heavy as heck. And it's not that this E450 couldn't carry it, it definitely can. We've got a dually rocket in the back, and I'm pretty sure that it's loaded GVWRs, like the maximum that it can weigh is almost 13,000 pounds, and I think we're sitting at around 10,000 pounds empty. So we do have a lot of weight to play with, but that said, the more weight we put in, the worse gas mileage we get, and I don't think we're gonna get that great a gas mileage to begin with. Speaking of use of wood, they made this lovely, honestly, they did a great job on it, little pull-out slatted bed. So I think that this is supposed to pull out, but it weighs so dang much that it's like hard for me to do on my own. Ugh. But this does pull out to make a full bed. That down there is outside storage, which I probably will be keeping closed off unless I can figure out a way to maybe put my water in there. That could be kind of nice. And then in this back corner, we have another exterior facing box, which I think could be really nice for storing some outdoor gear. Last but not least, coming past these double doors, we have this nice corner shelf. Again, they did a nice job on it. They put a big lip here, but it is 3/4. It is in the way of where I think my bed is probably gonna go. So this will be coming down, but I'm hoping to repurpose or resell as much of the wood as humanly possible just to get my money out and not to be wasteful. Coming down below, they made this galley space to essentially hide boxes, which is unfortunate that they didn't do more work on it. But under here, we have some outside boxes that you can't see or access. Under here, they made this little like sliding door, which actually stays surprisingly shut while we drive. They did not leave that little Craftsman. I bought that to try to clean up all of the shrapnel, but you can also see in here that they have tried their best to insulate these small boxes, but didn't really do that great of a job. It's just Reflectix, and a lot of these guys are actually still just completely open, so I'll be redoing all of this as well. Something I want to point out though, I don't know if you guys can tell how deep these wells are, but I'm actually super pumped for having 2-inch thick walls because it means I can put up to R10 insulation board in there at a fraction of the cost of what a lot of people will use typically to insulate their vans, like 3M Thinsulate or Havelock wool. I'm not saying the polyiso board is necessarily the most environmentally friendly or the best quality, but R10 for what we're gonna be doing is going to be plenty, especially if I can get those pieces cut really tight to the metal. I think 2 inches is more insulation than we've had in any of our rigs. And that's really the goal of this build, is to make it as all season, all weather, all adventure as possible. And because I know people always ask, here is a slow 360 of the entire space. Finish off the tour, which feels very silly because I didn't do any of this build and there's really not much to tour as it is. I just want to talk about a couple of the plans that I have for this build. Honestly, at this point, who knows when, because depending on how much this engine issue costs, it might delay our build by quite a bit, but knock on wood, and let's hope that it doesn't, so I can get on with making this the ultimate adventure rig. This definitely is not how I wanted to intro the rig, but sometimes that's just how it goes, and if you're thinking about getting onto the road or living the van life, know that sometimes this stuff happens, and in fact it happens more often than I'd care to admit. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me with this very informal tour, and I can't wait to show you guys more of it in the near future. All right, good news. I just got off the phone with our soon-to-be tow truck driver, and he said he's about 10 to 15 minutes out. We weren't even sure that he was going to be able to get the truck on his truck, which I guess we still aren't that sure, but fingers crossed we can. Then it's going to be about an hour and a half down into town. Then I need to figure out how to get both Tara and I back to our place, because at this point the ambulance is obviously out of commission and we need to head home and regroup before we try to figure out what the heck is going on here. All right, well, we are currently on the side of the road. It looks like a storm is coming in, and we pulled over because the tow truck driver, thank God, noticed that we were about to lose my driver's wheel. I have a dually back there, but I was about to lose my first wheel and tire. So we're pulled over waiting for a second tow truck now to come lift me because all of the lugs either stripped or something. They came off of my back wheel, my back axle. God.